The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you. Or wonders they say shall never cease to happen in Africa. This time round, it is in Ivory Coast. There is fire on Alassane Ouattara to the point that Ouattara can no longer hide the fire that is burning him. Why is Ouattara attacking our all in all, the savior, the protector, the unifier, the messiah, the king of kings, the most loved? And why is Ouattara again attacking Togo? Ouattara, according to report, is attacking Togo for allowing Paul Henry Santiago Damiba to be extradited back to Burkina Faso to face justice. According to report, this man is angry. He don't see the reason to which Damiba to be sent back to Burkina Faso to face justice. We know what has been happening between Santiago and Burkina Faso as a whole, because what he was doing was not only targeting the people who are in power, but even the citizens, because we saw some time back the incident in the Basalogo where a lot of people lost their lives, and all these coup plots and things was as a result of Paul Damiba, according to report. And people are asking, why is this man angry? Because according to report, some years back, that was 2010, 2012, there was a defense minister, Kwesi, who was also extradited from Lomé into Ivory Coast to face justice. And Ouattara was also supporting that thing. So why is Ouattara, a leader who is looking for justice and the welfare of Africa and West Africa, not happy that somebody like this, Damiba, who is committing crimes against Burkina Faso, is brought back into the country to face justice, and this man is angry at Togo? People are asking, what is eating Ouattara up? Because it's like there's fire on Ouattara.
The extradition of Paul Henri Damiba is not accepted by everyone like the Ivorian president. According to information from the news site Africa Intelligence, Alassane Ouattara reacted strongly to the extradition of the former president of Burkina Faso. He is reportedly unhappy and considers this decision a worrying legal and political precedent. From his perspective, this extradition opens a dangerous breach. According to him, it could lead to former leaders or dissidents exiled in the sub-region being handed over to their country of origin upon simple request, especially if it comes from a member state of the Alliance of Sahel States, the AES. Abidjan also believes that this extradition would increase pressure on states that host nationals wanted by their country of origin for political or security reasons. What really explains the Ivorian president's anger, and is it justified? Let's follow this analysis.
Wishu. As I mentioned in the title, Lida Kwasi Moise is in the custody of the Ivorian police. The former defense minister of Laurent Gbagbo was arrested yesterday by the Togolese police and gendarmerie. He was then extradited last night to Abidjan. Lida Kwasi had been a refugee in Lomé, Togo, since the end of the post-electoral crisis and was conducting subversive activities there. That's what Abiba Danbelesawe tells us.
The former defense minister of Laurent Gbagbo, Lida Kwasi Moise, arrived by plane at the Gatel on Wednesday at 9:40 p.m. He was arrested at his home in Lomé, where he had taken refuge after the end of the post-electoral crisis. In his possession were documents of a subversive nature.
Former Minister of Defense was apprehended today by the Togolese authorities. He has just been extradited to Côte d'Ivoire. Mr. Lida Kwasi was the subject of a summons and an arrest warrant issued by the Ivorian justice. He was in Togo, and the Togolese authorities had compelled him, like most exiles, to a duty of discretion which he broke several times. During his arrest, documents were seized from him that implicate him in projects to destabilize Côte d'Ivoire. Togolese authorities have handed over these very useful documents to us, which will be used by our services for submission to the justice system. The cooperation between our states in police and justice matters is governed by rules. I can assure you that all these rules have been followed.
Leader Kwasi Moise was, like several pro-Gbagbo supporters, under an international arrest warrant.
The first reason why Alassane Dramane Ouattara trembles is that he said, in fact, he is known as the hair that is never missing in the sauce, in the soup. He is known as the greatest destabilizer of the sub-region, and he always does it under the instruction of his masters, the French neo-colonialists, of whom he is an absolute servant, a slave. Since he boasts of being a governor of the Bank of France, in which in any case he has never held a single position of sovereignty, the Bank of France, as we understand it well, being the Bank of the French Republic by the Bank of Africans. So, Alassane Dramane Ouattara, when he learns that Damiba has been arrested, fears that a new page of his history as an inveterate neo-colonialist coup plotter will be written. That is the first reason. But there is a second reason why he panics. It is that the elements available to the Burkinabe justice and provided to the Togolese justice indicate that the main sources of funding and the supply of weapons that were to be used to assassinate the president of Faso, Ibrahim Traore, and restore a neo-colonial regime in Ouagadougou, all of this was prepared and financed, and all of this was projected onto Burkinabe soil from Ouattara's Ivory Coast. Why is Alassane Dramane Ouattara panicking? Because he fears a new major exposure of his vileness, his wickedness, his treachery, his perversity. So the second reason is that Côte d'Ivoire is the state that played the major role as an active rear base for the destabilization that led to Damiba's arrest. But now, let's go to a third reason why Ouattara is panicking. He panics because Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, now under arrest and who will therefore be subjected to judicial proceedings in his native country, Burkina Faso, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba might decide to speak. That is not that the facts have already spoken. The evidence that led to his arrest has already spoken. But Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba might decide to speak even more. Why? He might decide to speak even more. First, because he feels that he did not receive sufficient solidarity from his senders, namely Alassane Dramane Ouattara and the French neo-colonialists. He may feel that the pressure that should have been applied on President Faure Gnassingbe on the Togolese government was not sufficient to compel the Togolese government not to hand him over. He may feel that his masters, the French neo-colonialists and their lackeys from ECOWAS have been ungrateful to him. Because after all, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba is a soldier of French neo-colonialism and Western imperialism. He is a servant like Ouattara to foreign interests and against Africa. He may feel that his own side has abandoned him. And since his own side has abandoned him, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba may decide to free himself. He may decide to let his heart speak, and if he lets his heart speak, what truth will emerge in the military court of Ouagadougou? But Damiba could not only fully and completely implicate Ouattara, but he could also implicate Ouattara's allies in the sub-region and internationally. So this affair can turn into a scandal, not just a Burkinabe one. It can turn into a West African scandal. It can turn into an African scandal.
Already we heard the confessors who gave us previous confession that everything Abricus. When it comes from the West, it ends up in Abricus, and then Abricus, then they received. You understand? So this is how it has always been, the network. And they said, we can never say that it is true until proven otherwise. But now, Ouattara himself is like he's telling the world that, see, I already know that I am part. And looking at the way things are going, this man is going to talk and my name will definitely come out. Because there's no way Paul Damiba will ever keep quiet. He will talk. That man will mention names. Everybody that is involved, the name will come out. And we know African leaders, a lot of people are involved. Somebody left a comment under my comment section. And I am saying that, see, anybody that is involved in this thing, that is why I all said it's going to be televised, and I'm so excited so that we can finally see the true leaders that we have in Africa. The ones who are in suit and in white, that are preaching democracy, that are telling us this, and they're all involved in fighting against the progress of Africa. Ouattara's own. At least wait for Paul Henry Damiba to talk. They mention names. Already I heard that some names are out. He has started talking and names are out. At least wait for this thing to be televised so that we'll see and hear your name. Then you now come out and then attack Togo. But attacking Togo when your name hasn't been openly mentioned in this case by Damiba, it's like there's a big question mark. What is Ouattara scared of? If this thing was done in Ivory some years back, why are you not supporting the same thing that is happening in Burkina Faso? What are you scared of? Togo did what we all expected Togo to do. Before Togo released Damiba to Burkina Faso, to our all in all, they have to give evidence. After they wrote, they said they can't just give out Damiba to them like that without evidence. And there were a lot of evidence. See, files under this man's name. Text messages, whatever. And that was the reason to which they made these people to confess to the whole world. Like this one, if it was done in the dark, the whole world will say, okay, it's not true, they cooked it, they did this. But look at the things these people said. And how they even went and then filmed the residence of Captain Ibrahim Traore. The people they paid, the top officials, the calls. We had some. I even shared some of the audios that we had, the way they were plotting. Everything was just for the whole world to see. And yet with all these things that this man did to people, Ouattara is still not happy that this man is brought back into Burkina Faso to face justice. And we ask Ouattara, if this was done to you and this man is brought back to Ivory Coast, will you tell us that you are not excited? Why is Ouattara scared? Why the double standard? If Minister Kwesi was brought to you, why is Damiba brought to Burkina Faso? And it is a problem. People are sending you back to history. Maybe when it happened, you thought that it's been a decade or so. So for that matter, people, no, now we don't forget. Whatever you do, we record it down. And we will play it to you when you start to be doing like things that you are doing now. Like this one. What do you think? At least, that cool. We are not proven guilty yet because they mentioned Togo, they mentioned Ghana, they mentioned some African countries. We are not seeing their leaders coming out to attack Togo. And there was nothing Togo could have done rather than release that man back. Because the things that these people saw, the Togolese authorities saw, they were overwhelmed. And they could do nothing but to send this man back. There is no leader that will keep a man like Damiba. If you should have somebody like that plotting against you, Ouattara, will you be happy? Would you not also want that person to be brought to fear? That's Sunday. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, West Africa, and in Ivory Coast.